Okay.
Yeah, okay. So we're starting today a new Likutei Halochos, which is Ilchas Torah Halacha Daled, which is based on Torah Daled of second Chelek Likutei Mara. And he says as follows: this Torah Bichlal is based around the principle in the Toyelas, the benefit of tzedakah, what tzedakah does. Okay? And so he says the Rebbe says the main avodah is tzedakah, the main work of giving tzedakah, because tzedakah is avodas Hashem like any other avodas Hashem. But the main aspect of the work that you have to work on yourself regarding this inyan of tzedakah is to break one's own cruelty, stinginess, and hard-heartedness and cheapness, and to give tzedakah, because somebody who is naturally generous, for him to give tzedakah is no big deal. There's no avodah in it. There's no effort. There's no.
So you're saying it's good to be cheap.
It's not good to
there's something to work on.
It's good to work on what you are and understand where you're from, and take it from there. So it says everybody, all the netivei live, all the people that are generous of heart, that want to be zeicha to avodas tzedakah, they have to go through that particular route. First of all, they have to break their inner cruelty, and to change it into rachmanos, into compassion, and give tzedakah. That's the main avodah of tzedakah, and what it does, it flips the reiges, the anger of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to rachmanos, to ratzon, to favor. You do this here, it flips by the Kadosh Baruch Hu as well. Now, all the tzedakah and all the mitzvahs and all the masim tovim and all avodas Hashem is b'chinas hayloda, is like giving birth. Because in Parshas Noach it says, Ela toldos Noach, these are the offsprings of Noach. Noach ish tzadik tomim hayor d'roisav. Noach was ish tzadik. He said these are the offsprings of Noach. So Rashi says the main offsprings of tzaddikim are ma'asim tovim. So your mitzvahs and your avodas Hashem, everything, these are your offsprings. That's and the Rebbe says the same way that a woman who gives birth has to go through birth pains, and she has to cry out, all kinds of things just to go sort of ach and avoid and stuff like that. The same thing is, I'm not reading from there. The same thing exists in avodas Hashem. When you want to do any kind of avodah, any kind of tshuva, it is unbedingt. You have to go through, how many trials, how much toil, and how much forcing yourself, and how much crying out, and how much of, as the Rebbe says, voices of och and avoy, and how many, sighs and krächzen and doubling over and going this way and that way. He says you have to go through until the Vedic comes. He says especially in the beginning, because the beginning of Olas Chalas Kodesh, all the beginnings are hard, and you need more effort and more more voices and more determination and more resoluteness and more forcing before you start any kind of beginning, and even after the beginning. Doesn't come easy in Avodas Hashem. That's what we told you yesterday. If you're already starting seeing difficulties in Avodas Hashem, that means you started. That means now finally you have arrived. Until now, Kodesh Baruch Hu, you were like, the 100 days of mercy.
Sure.
Like Kodesh Baruch Hu was giving you, he wanted to show you what's waiting for you, that what's in it for you. You decided that you want it, now you got to work for it. Until now you got it as a gift. Now you have to start working for it. Which means, whatever you got until now, unless you start working for it, it's not going to stay. It's only things that you work for that stay. It's not only true about this, it's true about life, about anything. But this is why, because it's true about this. This is the root of everything. The same thing is true about anything else. Nothing comes easy in Avodas Hashem. And before you do any kind of avodah that has any kind of beauty, any kind of the beginning is very, very hard. So don't get confused, don't get razzled and dazzled by anything that goes over you, because it is a must to go through whatever it is you have to go through. And according to how much effort and suffering a person goes through, this is how much schar he gets. The Rebbe says that the tzedakah opens up the openings. First of all, the tzedakah makes an opening. And even after the opening, once there already is an opening, you give tzedakah, it widens the opening. When a person goes in any kind of a derech on Avodas Hashem, and you have to open up a road, you have to open up a portal, you have to break out a door, you have to make a door, you have to make a window, you have to make a Pesach in order to get there. That's why, but the beginnings are hard. So you need to give tzedakah in order to be able to open up the door. And if you have a door, the tzedakah makes it wider. That's why it's good before any mitzvah in avodah, it's good to give tzedakah in order to widen up, to open up the Pesach, the Kedusha. It won't be so difficult to get in. Now, the beginning of the tzedakah is very, very difficult, but the benefit of tzedakah, the toyelos of tzedakah, is extremely great. He says, because the very needs of the body, in other words, eating and apartments and clothes and this and whatever it is, there's so much of them, they prevent a person from Avodas Hashem a great deal. Because you're busy with this and you're busy with that, and you have to take care of this, you have to take care of that, and you go to this, you have to get... it keeps you away from Avodas Hashem. But when you're giving tzedakah, it brings down these obstacles. And you get to the point that you don't have to do everything. You just be Osek in Avodas Hashem. You won't be bothered with any of those, because others will do your job for you. It says, however, suddenly you give tzedakah and the menias go down, and now you get rov teva, you get a bounty of goodness. So, like any kind of wealth that you're getting, you can't get rov teva just like that. You have to make a keli, you have to make a tzinor, you have to make a pipe. To bring the shefa to you, so it should just be a tsunami, it should go all over the place. And this is the yira. The yira is the thing that keeps things in check. If all the people that become rich, in one shot, if they would have the sense to fear going nuts. I'm not saying you need to fear losing their money, but to fear going nuts and to fear, whatever it is, they would have a keli with which to contain the money that they have. People that work for their money, They learn. You spend more than you have, you don't have money. You spend less than you have, then your money can accumulate, and so on and so on. So this is a keli. This is a yira. This is a concern. By them, it's a concern. But over here, we're talking about the Rav Teva, the Kodesh Baruch Hu mashpia to a person. Yes, Hashem, that's the keli. That's the vessel that holds it together. Here's always a constriction. It's like this is only, it doesn't let it spill. Okay, so now you have to get Yira, right? The way to get Yira is to internalize that there is no nature, there's no chiyuv of nature at all. That naturally things are like that, so it has to happen like that. I have to tell you, there's no such thing. When you realize that causes you, when you realize that really everything is in the hands of Hashem, that gives you yira. Because everything is in the hands of Hashem, which means it's a regular relationship. What you do is what Hashem does with you. So that gives a person yira. But the more a person is under the impression that, the world is just a natural place and that's normal things to do. I do, but it's okay. That's the opposite of Yira. When people fall into heresy, that then it's not Shaykh Yira Chas v'Shalom. The thing that exposes that everything happens b'Ratzon Hashem, this is what we learned in Likutei, is the Yom Tovim, right? Is the Yom Tovim, the Pesach and Shavuos and Sukkot. These are days of favor, these are days of will, these are the days that the Kodesh Baruch Hu, that the Ratzon of Kodesh Baruch Hu, the fact that Kodesh Baruch Hu runs the world, is opened, is exposed. Because every single Yom Tov announces the Ratzon Hashem, the will of Hashem. What's it called a Yom Tov? What? It's just a day. No, but it's a day in which a Kodesh Baruch Hu did moifsim, and tremendous things with Am Yisrael, and basically proved that the notion that the world is just a natural thing, and everything in it is just Yodim Yonis, is false. So every single Yom Tov Kodesh Baruch Hu did an unbelievable miracle. It's yes Mitzrayim, he took us out of Mitzrayim with miracles and everything else. Matan Torah gave the Torah with such tremendous miracles and everything that went with it. And Sukkot, we had the clouds, that were surrounding us with the air conditioner in the middle of the desert, all throughout the 40 years. Those miracles that the Kodesh Baruch Hu did during the Yom Tovim reveals, these are days in which the extra-natural intervention for Kodesh Baruch Hu in the world is revealed. So that comes to tell you that all the other times when you don't see the Ratzon Hashem in action, it looks like nature is really because the Kodesh Baruch Hu just wants it that way. It's not because Chas v'Chalila there's the rules of nature, but you have to listen well. The Rebbe says you have to tune in to hear that announcement that Yom Tovim announced the Ratzon of the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Each one according to the way that he is zocheh to hear the announcement in his heart, that during Yom Tov, that everything conducts in the world according to the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants it. This is how he's zocheh to simcha of Yom Tov. We learned, if you remember, we learned in the Likutei Maharan, we learned how things work from the other side. Through Simchas Yom Tov, you elevate the Malchus to Or HaPonim. Remember? Here, you're learning the other way around. Here, you're learning that it works both ways. Through Simchas, as much as you can hear the Gilu HaRatzon of the Or HaPonim, of the will of Hashem, this is how you zeicher to simcha. Because why should you be simcha in Yom Tov? Okay, so you eat well, you sleep a lot. I mean, what's the, you don't have to go to work. I mean, it's like, what's the big simcha? What's to be happy about? What's to be happy about is when you hear that the Yom Tov is announcing the Ratzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When you have this kind of sense of hearing, it's a spiritual sense of hearing, obviously. Then you Zechat Yom Tov. He says, the reason why it's so difficult is because there is in the world something called bad animals, prey animals. These are the scientists. They want to show, according to their false chokhmah, that everything is just nature. That there's no divine guidance to the world. And what they do is, why the Rebbe calls them bad animals? Because they maul, they eat a lot of the Jewish people. Yeah, you have to go to the doctor, and you have to do this, and the doctor said, and this, and that, whatever. Everything is teva. Nature. And a lot of Jews, sunk in it, Achmol Atzlan. And these souls that were sunk in it, we all are. It's like birds who are caught in a trap. Because anybody who has Rahmanis himself has to run away from it, so that his nefesh won't be mauled, won't be eaten up by these animals. And they make a noise also. Everybody talks about it. It's a common thinking that that's the way the world runs. Their calling, their crying overcomes and subdues the calling of Yom Tov. Their calling of Apikorsis drowns out the calling of Yom Tovim that says everything is Ratzon Hashem. So you have here two voices. The voice of Yom Tov that tells you everything is Ratzon Hashem. And you have the voice of the bad animals, of the wild animals, of the mechakrim, of the scientists, of the researchers. That this is not, everything is nature. And their voice is very, very loud because that's the way the word thinks, and it drowns out, so they have their own. From Yidden find their own tricks to be a pikosim, remember I told you that he says why Shotkash Baruch, you have to be zoichazan, you have to be zoiche, and it's like in other words, Kodesh Baruch is, but. It's you go to the day of nature because it's only if you're zoicher, if you're very, very good, then it's extra whatever. So first of all, a person should not look in these books. It's Sifrei Hakira. He says even of Doli Yisrael, don't look at them. He says there's nothing worse than that. Now, what is the thing that determines which point of view wins? It is the elders of Am Yisrael, the Kedusha, from Yidden. As they get older, it depends what they do at that time. The Ziknei Yisrael, Ma'arichei Yomim, in the generation, that are imperfect. What does it mean imperfect? They don't add Kedusha every single day of their lives. They are giving koyach, spiritual koyach, to Chochmas Teva to win over. Because when you don't use the day to advance, to do something in Avodas Hashem, it means what's the difference between today and yesterday? Because it's natural. You lived yesterday and you live today also. So, spiritually, without feeling, it gives koyach, it gives chayes de kedusha to the notion that this teva, that's the way the world goes. It's dafka from Ziknei Yisrael, the marich yom of the generation, those that live long in generation, they don't add kedusha every single day. They are the ones that give the koyach to chachach me'ateva. Because every single day that comes to you, you have to add something in your Shemayim, in Avodas Hashem. You have to Kedusha, you have to be Nosh HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You have to learn about it, you have to talk about it, you have to wish for it. You know, a lot or a little, it doesn't matter. But every single day you have to add something you didn't have before. And not only this, but every single day you start in the morning, you have to, as the day goes by, you have to add more and more and more Kedusha. The Rebbe says when you start the day, it's very difficult. I don't even feel like getting out of bed. But the Rebbe says so about himself. He says that he had difficulty bringing himself to Avodas Hashem. So he would sing himself a niggun, he would whatever it is, just to get into it, like before exercises, they do stretching, they do this, and you have to open up, and you have to add. He says because when a person damages his days, in other words, he gets older,
wastes his time.
He doesn't add kedusha. He says he's not even called old; he's called young, because most of his time is spent on nothing. So the real time that he spends on Avodas Hashem is so little that he's actually called young. It's called little. It's Ktsar Yomim, of short days. And it is through that mode of living, so to speak, the Sitra Achra sucks from it the koyach to drown out the koyach of the Ratzon and to imprint the idea that the world is based on Teva. Now, that said, a person can say, most of my time, I'm not always in Kedusha. We don't know what does it mean that you add or waste time, because not everybody is in the same state. State of Kedusha, if you're ADD, you can't learn more than a few minutes a day. So that's for you considered your Marach Yom, that you are, but somebody else that is capable of learning, is capable of doing whatever it is that he wants to do, and he doesn't do it, even if he learns a few hours a day, Kapi Shmaya, he's wasting his time, compared to what he could be doing. So never be a maven in yourself, I'm not good, I'm not this, I'm not that. You do what you can. And you ask the Kadosh Baruch Hu to do more than that. Once you put yourself in the hands of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, you don't have to worry whether you're Yotzei or you're not Yotzei. But the main thing is keep it in mind. The Rebbe says you wake up in the morning and think about Olam Haba. The first thing, that there is Olam Haba, it's not just this world, and there's Din v'Cheshbon and everything. And as Kadosh Baruch Hu, I'm putting the day in your hands. Let me Yotzei, whatever it is, I've already did that. And today, especially if it's Shabbos or it's Yom Tov, whatever. Now the tikkun for the damage that these people, these old people, that are imperfect, they don't add, is tzedakah. With the tzedakah, you correct that damage that these long-living zakanim do. And with that tzedakah, you're zeicher to lash out the natural sciences notion, the ashkafa of the Teva. You're countering. That's the antidote. That's tzedakah, because tzedakah is hapechana. You work all the time to make money. What are you giving money away? It's the hapech. The world goes. It's hapech Teva, because you believe you're giving or give tzedakah, they're going to give you more. That's hapech Teva. So giving tzedakah is the antidote. Those Canaan that live long harm it. You're giving tzedakah helps it. And with this, by giving tzedakah, by drowning out, by turning off the cry of the scientists, or that hashkafa, this gets you to be zeicher to hear the calling of the Yom Tovim that announced the Ratzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this is how you get to Simchas Yom Tov. That's why you have to give a lot of tzedakah before every Yom Tov. See, before every Yom Tov, the Am Yisrael is giving tzedakah. Why did it? Because in their nature they know that is the thing that will get them Simchas Yom Tov.
So
Like
we
giving
give tzedakah because before Yom Tov people don't have money.
Beseder. But why would you care?
Because it's when you see more people need it.
So, people need it all the time.
Yeah, but
Don't
Yom Tov
bother
is
me.
more expensive.
Don't bother me, don't bother you. I also need. What's that? What's that? Because you either have a Yiddish neshama, your neshama tells you that's what you need to do before Yom Tov. This is how you zochet simchas Yom Tov. This idea that somebody else needs is epech hateva. That's epech hateva. What do they need? No, this is for Brennenfeld. I need. What do you mean? Let them burn. Who cares? It's me. It's like, you have hundreds of thousands of people burn up in Syria, every month. I don't see anybody cares about that. So derech hateva is, as long as it doesn't touch me, I don't care. So this is urus to give tzedakah before every Yom Tov is hepech hateva. And that's the thing that brings about simchas Yom Tov. And with this you're hearing the call of the Yom Tov, that the Yom Tov, the spiritual call of the Yom Tov, that's Ratzon Hashem. And then you get the Simchas Yom Tov. And when you get that, you don't have to do any work. And then the work, Yom Halochos is done by others, and you are able to be misasik and avodas Hashem without any disturbance from needing parnasa. So you see that the benefit of tzedakah is huge, for yourself, that you'll be able to Isaac and avodas Hashem without any disturbance. And for the entire world, because you reveal emunah in the world, because Baruch Hu runs the world. And also, what you're doing is you're breaking open the traps, and all the neshamas, like birds, are able to escape the trap. So, okay, so you did that. Wonderful. But the Chachmei HaTeva don't give up so easy. So what they do is they come and they put a doubt in the rasa. Okay, you believe because you believe, yeah, but maybe not. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, sometimes maybe. But Suffolk is a Amalek. That's the Suffolk is Gematria Amalek.
Yeah.
Yes. Suffolk is a doubt. Maybe. Ain't necessarily so. It's not so. Maybe yes. So what you have to do, you have to give even more tzedakah. Because the tzedakah, brings down the teva. Naton titen. That's what it's Naton titen. Rashi says even 100 times. Keep on giving. Because they keep on getting on. So you have to keep on giving them down. Naton titen. The Rebbe said that tzedakah is a refuah for all illnesses. That's refuah. Refuah for all illnesses. Up to here is the Kitzur Likutei Maharan for the Likutei Halochos that we're going to learn in Yetz Hashem.